Hello, this is Taylor Corbin doing my Madeline Hunter lesson presentation for EDU 152. I did my lesson for English Language Arts and Writing for the grade level of 2nd grade. My lesson theme is on friendship, and I've titled my lesson, Writing a Letter to My Friend. So each of the students will be writing their own letter to a friend as a summative assessment. They will be checked for understanding by me to ensure that their letter contains the important components of a letter that it should contain, such as a header, the date, the body, the closing, and their signatures. Also, their letters must be written in complete sentences and formatted correctly. So the first portions of the lesson will be taught as a whole group at the carpet in front of the class, where I can visually see and interact with the students and intervene when it's necessary. So before our lesson begins, for the anticipatory set, I would read the story called Lily's Purple Plastic Purse by Kevin Hanks, where a little girl writes a letter to her teacher. Or instead of reading it myself, I could show the YouTube video of the reading that I submitted with my lesson plan. Just the way that the person does the voices and sound effects it makes the story more enjoyable, and it's better than I could do myself. And while the story is being read, I would ask the students questions such as, why do you think we would write a letter to someone? What are some important parts that we need to remember to include in our letters? Can you tell me where the letters in the story were as I flip through the pages of the book and allow students to answer? Ask them, why did Lily write a letter and who did she write her letter for? And allow them to think and discuss with a partner. For my statement of purpose, I would be telling the students, now boys and girls, we're going to learn how to write a short letter where we can put our ideas into logical order. And we will go over where the different elements of a letter belong. By the end of our lesson for today, you will have written a letter to a friend using all of these elements. And this is an important thing to do because people all over the world write and send letters every day, and it's important for you to know how to do it as well. And then we will get into the lesson through instructional input, modeling, and guided practice, where I will go over this Lily's letter chart with them, going over the important vocabulary and the important elements of a letter. So, we have the header, the date, the body, the closing, and our signature or our name. So, first important letter, boys and girls, is the header. This is where I'll start my letter. This is where I want to address the person I am sending my letter to so that they know that it's for them. And I would write things up here as I'm talking to them and going over this with them, but I would write dear blank, comma. So dear, the person's name that you're writing to, comma, that would be an appropriate header to write a letter with. The next important element is the date, so that the person I'm sending it to will know what day I wrote it in case something were to happen to it. Okay. The next important element is the body, which is the main purpose of the letter. This is why I'm writing the letter. This is what I want to tell the person I'm writing the letter to. I want to make sure that I follow the proper order so it makes sense to them when they read it. Then after the body, I will close my letter so that they know that I'm all finished. And some appropriate closings could include the following: sincerely, comma, which means that I really meant what I wrote, or love, comma, or best wishes, comma. Those are a few examples. And finally, I will put my signature or my name where you will write your name so the person who receives it will know that it's from you. All right, then after we go over this chart, we will do the graphic organizer together as a class over the Elmo. So first, to help me write my letter, I need to brainstorm some ideas and thoughts about my letter so that it can be in order and in logical order. So first, I need to decide who I will write my letter to, and I will put it in my header. So I think I'm going to write my letter to Miss Corbin. So I'll write, Dear Miss Corbin, comma. Okay, and next I need to add the date of today right here. So the date today is April the 23rd, 20 20. All right, now I want to tell her 3 things. So you have to decide what 3 things you want to tell her in the body. So the first thing I want to tell her is, I am glad to be in her class. I am glad to be in your class, period. The next thing I want to tell you is that I have made many friends in your class. I have made many friends in your class, period. And the last thing I want to tell her is that I have fun learning in her class. I have fun learning in your class, period. All right, then I need to close it. So I have to pick what closing I want to say right here. So I'll put love, comma, and then I need to write my name. So Miss Corbin. To Miss Corbin from Miss Corbin. All right, so after the brainstorming's done in the graphic organizer, I'm going to get out my blank sheet of paper, and I'm going to write my letter in an organized way. And the students can do a think aloud and convert their brainstorming into a letter. So then for my checking for understanding, I will ask the students to think about the important elements of a letter that we discussed and where they need to go. And then I will ask them to turn to a partner and tell them one element and its correct location, such as the header, the date, the body. And then from their partner, they will get another element and its correct location, and they can use the chart that we used as well if they need to. So, and this process is called Give One, Get One. And after that, I will call on a few students to share what they know to see if they understand it correctly. Okay, then next for my independent practice, I will tell the students that they're going to go back to their desks or their light bulb labs, as it's called in the storybook, and they're going to brainstorm using their graphic organizers. When they're finished, they will turn it into a friendly letter to anyone that they want. On their sheet of lined paper. It can be to their grandma or their mom or dad or their best friend, anyone they want to. And I will remind them that it must have all of the important elements that we've discussed and in their correct locations. And during this time, I'll just walk around the class monitoring the students while they complete their work and ask students questions and help the struggling writers, and just ensuring that all students are following the instructions and showing appropriate behavior. And then lastly, for the closing of this lesson, and after the students have written their letters, I will have them bring their letters to the carpet in front of the class and ask a few students to raise their hand and share what they thought was the easiest component about writing a letter. And then I will pass out some envelopes and have the students put their letters in the envelopes and write the person or recipient's names on the front of their envelope and tell them that after I look at their letters and review them, that I'll give them back to them so that they will give it to whoever they wrote it to. So a follow-up lesson that I would do with this lesson is we have went over and discussed the important elements of writing a letter, and they would continue, writing for practice, maybe at the writing corner or writing center. But I would also discuss with them for a follow-up the important elements of writing on their envelopes. So they would have to write their name and address here in the left-hand corner, put a stamp in the right-hand corner, and write the recipient's name in the middle and their address. So that is how you would mail and write on an envelope to the person that you want to receive your letter. So that is the ending of my Madeline Hunter lesson plan. I hope that you enjoyed it and you have a wonderful day.